In this session, we are going to work the problems in the Chapter 4 review. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's bring up the first set of problems. We have graph triangle XYZ with vertices x is 2, 3, negative 3, 2, negative 4, negative 3, and its image after the translation. So here's 2, 3, negative 3, 2, and negative 4, negative 3. So our translation is going to be x, y plus 2, which means the x doesn't change, and we add 2 to the y. So let's go ahead and do our points. Now I prefer to plot the points at the end and work the transformations first. So our x is going to be 2, 3. Our y will be negative 3, 2. Just rewriting the original pre-image points. And z is negative 4, negative 3. Okay. Now, our x prime, our transformed point, again, we're going to go x doesn't change, y adds 2. So the x doesn't change, and we add 2 to the y. 3 plus 2, 5. That's x prime. Y prime, x doesn't change, add 2 to the y. Z prime, the x doesn't change, that's supposed to be a 4. Add 2 to the y, negative 3 plus 2 is negative 1. So now we go ahead and plot those points. And just to highlight these, we will change our color. And we go to 2, 5. So 2, 5 is up here. Negative 3, 4. So negative 3, 4 up here. Let's pull that down a little bit. And then negative 4, negative 1. Negative 4, negative 1. And then we can go ahead and draw lines through these to show that triangle. And now you can see that the triangle, the white pre-image, has been transformed. X stays the same, and we've added 2 to the y. Now let's work problem 2. In problem 2, our transformation is xy goes to x minus 3, y. That is, we're going to subtract 3 from the x-coordinate, and the y-coordinate doesn't change. So let's get started with that. And our x prime, the x we're subtracting 3 from. So 2 minus 3 is negative 1. And the y doesn't change. So 3. The y prime, we subtract 3 from the x. So negative 3 minus 3 is negative 6. 2 doesn't change. Z prime, subtract 3 from negative 4, negative 7, and the y doesn't change. So again, let's go ahead and plot these points. And we have negative 1, 3. So negative 1, 3 is that point. Then we have negative 6, 2. Negative 6, 2. And negative 7, negative 3. So negative 7, negative 3. So we're kind of almost off the grid here, but we'll still be able to see it. So let's graph these. And there's our second transformation. In this case, we just slid everything over. We translated to the left 3 units. 1, 2, 3. Now let's work problem 3. In problem 3, the transformation is xy goes to x plus 3, y minus 1. So we're going to the right 3 units and down 1 unit. So the first point will be x prime goes to. So we have add 3 to the x, subtract 1 from the y. So that's 5, 2. Y prime, we're adding 3 to the x, so negative 3 plus 3 is 0, and subtracting 1 from the y. 1. Z prime, adding 3 to the x, so negative 1, and subtracting 1 from the y. So we're at negative 3, going further negative, negative 4. Now we'll go ahead and plot those points. And we have 5, 2. So 5, 2. 0, 1. 0, 1. And negative 1, negative 4. Negative 1, negative 4. And so we've moved over 3 units, 1, 2, 3, and down 1 for each one of these points. In problem number 4, our transformation is xy goes to x plus 4, y plus 1. So here we have a translation 4 units to the right and 1 unit up. So let's begin with that transformation. So we have x prime and 2 plus 4 is 6, 3 plus 1 is 4. Y prime, negative 3 plus 1, or plus 4 is 1, and 2 plus 1, 3. And the last point, z prime, negative 4 plus 4 is 0, and negative 3 plus 1, negative 2. Now we go ahead and plot those points. And we have 6, 4. 6, 4. 1, 3. 1, 3. And 0, negative 2. So 0, negative 2. So, in this transformation, what we have is the points moved over 4 units to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4, and up 1 unit. Let's move on to the next section of problems. With problem 5, we have graph triangle PQR with vertices 0, negative 4, Q is 1, 3, and R is 2, negative 5, and its image after the composition. Remember that a composition is a series of transformations, 2 or more transformations end to end. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our original points, and for number 5 we're going to translate them with this transformation, and then with those transformed points we're going to make a second transformation. So we're going from the original image points to the first image point and then the second and final image points. So let's get started with that, and let's write down our original points. So we have P is 0, -4, Q is 1, 3, and R is 2, -5. That was kind of crazy. -5. Okay. Now, for our first transformation, it's a translation. And the transformation is +1 in the x direction, +2 in the y direction. So our P prime is going to be +1 in the x direction, so that's 1, +2 in the y direction. -4 + 2 is -2. Q prime, we're adding 1 in the x, so that's 1 + 1 is 2, and 2 in the y, 3 + 2, 5. And then the R prime. 2 + 1 is 3, -5 + 2 is -3. Again, -5 + 2, -3. Now, we're going to take these transformed points and we're going to apply this composition transformation to it. So this is a new translation going left 4 units and up 1 more unit. So we're going to be transforming P prime points. So P double prime is going to be, we take the x coordinate and we subtract 4 from it. So 1 - 4 is -3. And 2 + 1, sorry, -2 + 1 is -1. Then our Q double prime, that's not a 17. That's a double prime. And 2 - 4 is -2. And 5 + 1 is 6. And then lastly, our R double prime. 3 - 4 is -1. And -3 + 1 is -2. So now we go ahead and plot those points. So it just wanted the original preimage, which is P, Q, and R, which are here, and the final image, which is going to be our P double prime. So we're just going to plot our P double prime here. So -3, -1 is our first point. -3, -1. So there's our first point. -2, 6. -2, 6 is way up here. And -1, -2. -1, -2. And so we can draw the new triangle here and see what it looks like. So from the original, we went from here to here. Now, for continuity's sake, if you wanted to actually show the first transformation points, that's all we'd have to do is graph those. So 1, -2, so 1, -2, 2, 5, 2, 5, and 3, -3, 3, -3. And that shows us the 3 separate transformations in the composition. So we went from here to here to here.